Okay, it's recording. Do you want me to take the lead this time and switch off every week, or do you want to do it again?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Switching off every week.
All right. Then in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fireside Football. We missed last week. We apologize, but life and such. But how are you doing today, Bill?
We're here. We're doing good. Patriots won. I'm so sorry about your Colts. Tough loss. But we're doing pretty good this week. Feeling good.
Yeah, well, speak for yourself. I'm gonna pretend that was vodka. Anyways, someone else who probably needs to be drinking some vodka this week is Jon Gruden, because he just stepped down as the Raiders head coach because of the email scandal. So I guess, what are your general thoughts regarding all of that? Because I know you haven't liked Gruden for his announcing abilities, but
I hated Jon Gruden as an announcer. He was just wrong almost all the time, said dumb things, and people liked him just because he was enthusiastic. And it's just a dumb reason to like somebody. But anyway, Jon Gruden, it is crazy. If you look at Jon Gruden and what he did, he had so much luck go on in his coaching career. I mean, you could call it luck, but just how things went, like to give him like a legend mentality, like a legend picture, because he was on the Raiders. You know what I mean? They were really good on the Raiders. They lose to the Patriots in the Tuck Rule game. After they lose to the Patriots in the Tuck Rule game, Al Davis calls his assistant and says, "I want Gruden gone." That's he just calls. He's in the middle of the night. I want Gruden. I think it was even the same night. Calls, "I want Gruden gone." They trade him to the Buccaneers. Who do the Buccaneers win in the Super Bowl against the very next year?
The Raiders.
They beat the goddamn Raiders. You know how good that had to have felt? And then he goes to Monday Night Football. People love him. People absolutely love him. People probably watch Monday Night Football because of, I don't understand people. I hated him. But people loved him on Monday Night Football. And then he gets this Godfather offer to rejoin the Raiders, where they literally cannot fire him because they paid him much goddamn money much time. And it turns out he's a terrible, terrible person, and all of it gets ripped away. A little bit of joy. I feel a little bit of joy just because I didn't like him. I also feel a tad bad, but not that bad. I feel more joy than I feel bad.
Yeah, I heard about I knew that he sent a couple emails back in like the early 2010s. I think I heard about that last week, and it just didn't seem like a crazy big deal. Like, I mean, I didn't think anything would come of it, and then last night during the game, oh, it was so much worse than it was led on to believe, and he's stepping down. One of the more shocking things. This has just been a weird year for head coaches, but absolutely shocking. Jon Gruden kind of sucks, I guess. Like, come on, dude. How hard is it to not be sexist, racist?
I mean, especially how hard is it not to put it in writing? How hard is it not to be so sexist, racist, and homophobic that you have to put it in? Gotta share it with other people. Come on, man. Like, he deserves it because he's that bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else there is to say. He's just like, he deserved to I mean, he didn't get fired, but he deserved to be fired. He doesn't deserve to coach the Raiders anymore. He doesn't deserve to get his $100 million.
No. I wonder how much of that they have to give him. You think they got to give him all of it? That'd be crazy.
It wasn't guaranteed, was it?
I think it was, and I think it was only his 4th year into the deal.
Jesus.
So there's a potential they had to pay out $60 million for him to resign.
Jesus.
But maybe because he resigned, that like voids some of it.
Maybe
they negotiated it. That's why it was technically resigned.
I haven't heard anything about that. I don't know how public his contract is, but either way, that's why you don't sign a head coach to a 10-year deal. I mean, come on. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, Raiders? Especially a head coach that was good. And from 1999 to like 2004, right?
Yeah.
And the NFL has changed so much.
Yeah, and like when he won the Super Bowl, he basically stood on Tony Dungy's shoulders. Like, Tony Dungy built that defense and then gets fired, and then Jon Gruden comes in and wins it. So how good of a Super Bowl was that? I don't know, because like you said, he did play the Raiders. He knew a lot about the Raiders. I remember hearing like it was easy for them because he knew all the plays that the Raiders were running. They
Yeah,
didn't
that's
change
hilarious.
anything. So honestly, like, yeah, he was a bit overrated, and I don't know why the Raiders committed to him for 10 years, and they just paid quite the price, because Gruden is a pretty crummy guy. Uh, do you have any thoughts as to who could be the Raiders' next head coach? Obviously not the interim, but like next year.
I mean, the best pick, it's Byron Leftwich. You know, I'm a big Byron Leftwich guy.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a really good coach. I mean, he was a quarterback, so you know, he very likely has the mental aspect of the game. He studied under Bruce Arians. He was what was I think quarterbacks coach under Bruce Arians on the Cardinals. Then Bruce Arians left, and the Cardinals were terrible after Bruce Arians left. They fired their offensive coordinator. Leftwich was the interim coordinator, and I think he was for one more year. And then he went to the Buccaneers and became their offensive coordinator when Bruce Arians went there. So he got promoted without Bruce Arians. He's been trained by Bruce Arians, who's one of the best coaches of our generation. I think he's incredible. I think he's better than Sean Payton, which is a lot of people. That's a little bit of a hot take, but I really do. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I definitely think they'll go for an offensive guy, which it's kind of just the trend these days. So I think that Leftwich is a possibility. Obviously, Eric Bieniemy. I don't know if he's going to want to go to the Raiders. I don't know what his deal is. It's like whether he's been picky or like teams just haven't hired him for some reason. But either way, I think they go offensive head coach, because it's a very offensive driven league. But I wouldn't say it's a particularly desirable spot because I mean, Carr is good, but
They
he's
have
not.
good offensive weapons. They have
You do.
in the league. He's definitely top three. They have Derek Carr, who's a top 16 quarterback in the league, and that's what you need to win a Super Bowl, pretty much, as long as you have a good team around it. Now, they don't have that defense that you need, but we'll get to that in a second. They have good receivers. I mean, they have Henry Ruggs, who's getting better, and he's going to be pretty good. I think he'll have like a Marquise Brown curve, not to bring up any wounds, but I think he's going to be like Marquise Brown. He's just gonna get better and better. They have Brian Edwards, who I think is pretty good. He's a really good slot receiver. I mean, they have good offensive weapons. They don't have the offensive line. They don't have the defense, really. They got defensive pass rushers.
Yeah, they do. I guess I would say it's probably like a 6 out of 10 on the scale of like a desirable. It's better than like the Jets.
I think 6 out of 10 is fair. It's definitely better than the Jaguars.
Yeah,
even with Trevor Lawrence, I think it might be better than the Jaguars.
I think so too, because if you don't want Carr, you can just get another quarterback somehow. I mean, but Carr's good. I think Carr's underrated. I think he's. I mean, like you said, he doesn't have a great offensive line. He's never going to be a top 5 quarterback, but I think Carr's good enough to win you a Super Bowl, provided you have enough around you. I mean, he's probably better than Alex Smith was, so I wouldn't call him a game manager. He's just not going to be an elite guy for you, but he can be darn close. And I think that Raiders fans tend to blame Carr for things that they shouldn't. He's definitely not been the problem with their team. I don't think he holds them back too much. So, yeah, I mean, I guess depending on how much you like Carr, you might be more inclined to take that job. But Byron Leftwich or Eric Bieniemy, who knows if they'll end up there, but we're gonna have to wait quite a while to find out, because it's not gonna be until at least Black Monday, of 2022. So
maybe Frank Reich is fired on Black Monday.
Oh God, nice transition. Let's talk about the Colts, shall we?
Yeah. All right, so I got a little bit of some questions prepared for you. First one, right off the bat, I don't know if it's too much of the knee-jerk reaction yet. At what point do you bench Carson Wentz to save your first-round pick? You're what, 1-5, right?
We're 1-4.
1-4, okay.
So we've spoken about this a little bit before. I would say I don't think the Colts are gonna do it, which sucks. Like, if we get into that position, I think we absolutely should. But I would say as long as the division is still within reach, because it's not over. Like the Titans are only 3-2.
The Titans
They have
suck too.
they
The
have a
Titans are not a good football
no,
team.
they have a brutal stretch coming up too. Like honestly, after the next 4 weeks, we could be tied with the Titans very easily. Like we face pretty light competition. And then we do play the Titans. So we have to beat the Titans on Halloween. But then every game around there is winnable. So if we win those games, they lose most of their games. We could very easily usurp them for the division. So I guess if we were to drop like a couple games, like if we lose to the Texans next week, I would personally consider the season over because we 1-5 and you just lost to the damn Texans.
I was staring that in the face for a while this weekend.
Yes. Yeah. So if we lose to the I say if we lose 2 more games to like terrible teams, I would consider benching Wentz. And it's not really an indictment on Wentz. He's been pretty good so far. I mean, last night he threw for 400 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he was like 25 of 35. You played great last night. You don't throw for 400 yards, have like over 100 yards rushing, and lose normally. Like you just you don't do that.
Yeah.
But in true Colts fashion, we found a way to do that. And that happens far too often where we'll like lose in some unbelievable like manner or there'll be some kind of crazy stat like, oh, no team has ever lost while doing this, and then it's like leave it to the Colts to figure out how to do that. So I would bench him after 2 more losses to like bad teams, and then or if it became clear that the division isn't feasible and the wild card isn't feasible. But I'm definitely for benching him if that happens. I don't see the use in just playing it out and being honorable. Like we should keep our first round pick if we can.
Yeah. I think the Patriots, if they didn't play Cam Newton in the Week 16 game last year against the Jets, I think they would have saved like $5 million in cap space, and they played him, and he like played them out of stabs for him not to do it. So it kind of sucked, but it was like whatever.
Yeah.
not the same situation at all, but
no. What's $5 million?
All right, next one I got for you. Who's shining the brightest right now? Is it Carson Wentz? Is it Jonathan Taylor?
Yeah. I would say definitely Wentz has been better than I thought he would be. Outside of that Titans game where he was basically playing with his ankles like duct taped to his shins or whatever, where he couldn't move, he's been pretty good. And I would venture to say he was great last night. I don't think there's a quarterback in the league that wins you that game. It was just that's how bad our defense was in the fourth quarter. Like it didn't matter what our offense did. The defense just screwed us. So I would say Carson Wentz shining the brightest. Jonathan Taylor as well. He's really picked it up these last couple weeks. And then Michael Pittman. I think he's on pace to have 99 catches and like almost 1,300 yards. So I think he's definitely becoming a number 1 receiver, which is great to see.
He looks kind of like Keenan Allen out there.
Keenan Allen, or like maybe a Marcus Colston or something. He's not quite like a Randy Moss where he's like big and you just throw the ball down the field to him. He can though. But like most of his catches are more possession, and he's sneaky fast too. Like I think that I'm really excited about him. That catch last night was incredible.
Yeah.
And we just need to keep feeding him the ball, and hopefully Paris Campbell can get it going because they'd be a great 1-2 punch. He's hurt again, by the way. He popped up on the injury report. I think a small gust of wind could just like paralyze Paris Campbell. So yeah, those are probably the 3 I'd go with. Outside of that, not much is shining very brightly for the Colts.
Who's disappointing the most?
I would say individually our pass. I'd say it's hard to pick an individual player. It's kind of like it's like a combination of players, but our pass rush has been non-existent.
Yeah.
We're one of the worst teams in the league there. Our secondary hasn't been too great, mostly because they've been hurt, but even then Xavier Rhodes just has not looked good, which sucks. And we didn't address it at all in the offseason. We really didn't do anything in the offseason on the defensive side of the ball. we just like don't participate in free agency, and it finally caught up with us. We have no depth. Last night, I don't even know who was playing corner for us last night. Like legitimately, like I never heard of some of those guys, and that's as much as I love Chris Ballard. That's on Chris Ballard. You have to prepare for that. You need to sign some serviceable corners. And then offensive line has been pretty bad, though they have been a little better in the last couple of weeks, but they have been atrocious. Carson Wentz has been getting hit way too much. Quentin Nelson's hurt. Our right tackle, Braden Smith's hurt. Our center's been banged up. Our left tackle, he's been banged up. He hasn't looked very good either, even though he's coming back from the Achilles. So it's just like positions that I thought we would be improved at. We haven't been. It's been rough, but I couldn't give you like one specific player who's been the most disappointing.
Yeah. Rough season so far.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Jesus. And then it hasn't helped that we've faced a brutal schedule. Literally the Dolphins are probably the only losing team that we've played. Yeah, we play. Every other team is probably a playoff team. The Seahawks probably not now due to that Wilson injury, which we should probably talk about too.
True, yeah.
We'll hit on that later.
Okay.
So you had anything else for the Colts?
No, that's all I have for the Colts.
Okay, let me add this Russell Wilson thing, and then we'll do our predictions at the end. It's week 6 next week or 5?
Week 6.
Jesus, already. God, it flies by every year, doesn't it?
We get one more though. We get one more. Yeah,
that's true.
You didn't like it. I don't know why, but I'm pumped for the extra.
I don't like it's 16 games is very symmetrical, and
I get it.
17 is just weird.
More football. I like more football. I think they can go to 20. I think they can go to 20 games before it depreciates in value.
They should have done 18 or kept it 16. Yeah. Let's move on to the State of the Patriots, our weekly segment where you talk about your sweet love. So one of the biggest things that happened this week for you guys is you traded Stephon Gilmore. Now, I woke up to the notification that you were going to cut him, and I was like, oh, interesting. Yep. And then immediately after that, it's like, oh, never mind, we found something for him. And the Panthers have really just been trading for every cornerback and picking up every cornerback this year.
They traded for CJ Henderson, who was the number 9 overall pick 2 years ago. And now Stephon Gilmore, that Panthers defense, if Stephon Gilmore is healthy, you know what I mean? That's the Panthers defense. It's got to be incredible.
Yeah, they might make it to the wild card round at that rate. But anyway, like, how did you feel about the trade?
It is the most Patriots move ever. Just to be like, oh, Stephon Gilmore, oh, you don't want to play on your contract? Oh, let's just cut you. You know what I mean? We don't need one of the best corners in the league. Oh, people are giving us offers. How can we get for him? Oh, we get a 6 for the Panthers. Sure, trade him. But I just don't understand if he's gonna play for his contract on the Panthers. Why couldn't he have played for his contract on the Patriots? You know what I mean? It makes me think the Panthers have to be re-signing him. They have to be giving him a deal. Like, because what the fuck? Like, why couldn't we just keep him? I'd rather have that than the 6th round pick. And also, we would have gotten at least a comp 4th. You know what I mean? He would have gotten a decent amount of money in free agency. But you know, it's one of those moves where Bill Belichick, and Bill we trust. He knows better than me.
Yeah.
Almost always.
I mean, he's done it before numerous times.
Yeah,
it has to be a contract thing. Because even if he like hated playing for the Patriots, has he expressed any like? Because I know Revis just said today that he hated playing on the Patriots. But like,
by the way, that makes it so much better. If he either wanted money so bad that he came to play with us, or 2, he wanted a Super Bowl so bad that he came to play with us, and he hated it every step of the way. Oh, that makes it so great.
But has Gilmore shown any potential dislike towards playing for the Patriots?
Not really. I mean, he's done the typical holdout stuff, you know what I mean? But he hasn't been in our faces about it. I didn't really read his goodbye, but it was like he said, like, it's with mixed emotions I say goodbye. and it seemed kind of generic. I don't know, maybe it
Yeah.
wasn't, but I don't really remember it, so that's why I think it was quite generic.
He's like,
But
come on,
yeah,
man. I spent all morning writing that.
it's just disappointing because I was so excited for what our defense could be when he came back, and now
Yeah.
this is it. This is our defense. It's still a good defense. It's just
Just in
upsetting.
case Jackson.
Just in case Jackson.
He's your leader now.
Yeah, he's really good. I think we're gonna give him a pretty big contract extension.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be tough to lose a corner of that caliber, but he is getting old. What is he, 2?
I think he's 30, 31.
Okay. Yeah, that's still old for a corner. Probably a good time to get rid of him, I guess. But let's go into your...
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
What I was gonna say is it really showed against the Texans, our corner depth though, because Jalen Mills didn't play, and he was the corner safety that we got from the Eagles.
Right.
And he's been playing really good for us. So now we had a couple of guys line up on the other side, and they weren't very good. They did play better than I thought they would, but our defense just in general last weekend, it did not play well. What's so frustrating about the Patriots this year is we play really, really well on first and second down, and then worst team in the league on third and fourth down. I don't have stats to back that up, but I'm confident we're the worst team in the league on third and fourth down on defense, especially against the Texans. We had them at like 3rd and 4 on, I think, like their own 40-yard line. They went, they threw it down the sideline. Jalen Mills was rolling out. He threw it down the sideline. A perfect dime over just in case Jackson's hands. And what does Devin McCourty do? He just watches him catch it, like right behind him, and watches him run 40 yards past him for a touchdown. Hey, man, it's so upsetting. It's just all of the margins. We're that close to being a really good team, and we just can't do it. I think they converted a 3rd and shorts. I think they were like 5 or 6 last week, and then I think they converted 3 4th downs. I think the Texans converted 3 4th downs on us.
Jesus, at least you can get to 3rd and 4th down. Like, I don't know if you did watch the game last night. I don't know if you noticed the Colts defense just weren't there in the 4th quarter. I think they all decided to take their cigarette break at the same time because the Ravens were basically playing against air. But yeah, I saw that. I was keeping an eye on your game, and I couldn't believe that the Texans were beating you into the 4th quarter, weren't they?
We scored it. Damian Harris scored a touchdown, and then he fumbled. I don't know. It looked like maybe an inch from the goal line, but there was no camera angle that they showed us that clearly showed it, and it was pretty close. And then we came out of commercial break, and it was just like, oh yeah, it's not a touchdown. And it's like, cool, touchback. Fuck, like it was terrible. Which the Giants game, by the way, last week, they came out of commercial break after the Giants scored a touchdown. They cut out of commercial with the Giants celebrating touchdown, which is absolutely unexcusable, and somebody needs to be fired. Anyway, back to the Patriots. I would say the players that are playing the best right now, it's number one, it's Mac Jones. I love Mac Jones. The guy's incredible. He makes mistakes. He has been making some mistakes. He actually, it might have been his worst game last game, but he still played pretty well. It's just he's a rookie. He threw a bunch of balls that could have been intercepted, but luckily, like 4 of them were dropped. So I mean, it's up and down week this week, but he's really good. I think he's going to be a really good quarterback in the NFL.
Unfortunately, he shattered your bold prediction this week.
Oh man!
Yeah, 5 picks.
Oh yeah!
he's now thrown 5. So
not looking great. I mean, he probably only has like 4 touchdowns too. Maybe he has 5. Maybe
I think it's 5. He's got 5 and 5.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's a rookie, so he's gonna make his mistakes. But I think I mean, I haven't watched as closely as you have, but it seems like he's not your issue at all. Like he's been playing fine.
No, I mean, it was the offensive line, which the offensive line last week looked better than it's been all year, and we were missing 4 starters. We were missing 4 starters, and we looked the best we've looked. What? How does that even happen? So the offensive line was looking great last week, really shining. Another player that really has been playing well, Hunter Henry. And when we I think we were 32nd in the red zone I think the past 3 years, including the start of this year. So we need red zone offense, and Hunter Henry has scored a red zone touchdown in the past 2 games. And that Bucks touchdown, that was he really scored that touchdown. Like he fought for it and everything. So I'm excited. I'm excited for our tight ends to start paying off. Paid him a lot of money, but I mean it's not that much money. We paid him each like $10-11 million a year.
Yeah. Of the two, which one has been better so far?
I mean, it's got to be Hunter Henry. Johnny Smith basically lost us a game with his drops. Like he was so bad. He was so bad against the Saints. He's been okay though. Like he scored a touchdown. He was wide open on the touchdown against the Buccaneers. We scored a touchdown against the Buccaneers. But it's definitely Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry's been the better of the two.
Okay.
And the last player that I want to touch on that's been playing well is Matthew Judon. Matthew Judon looks incredible rushing the passer. And we haven't had a linebacker that could rush the passer like Matthew Judon since Rob Ninkovich. And even then, not even the same. And before that, Willie McGinnis. Willie McGinnis is really the last time we had a player that could rush the passer like Matthew Judon. And I'm so excited for it. I'm so excited. And he wears these red sleeves so you could see him very easily. You can see him coming. Oh, it's great. It's really iconic.
How many sacks does he have?
I think he has 5.5.
It's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he's been playing really well. As far as players that have been not doing great, only one comes to mind.
Who's in the doghouse?
It's Damian Harris. Damian Harris is in the doghouse. I mean, I forgave him after he fumbled against the Dolphins and cost us that game, quite frankly. I mean, we were at the 11-yard line and we had 1st and 10. Maybe it was 2nd and 10, but we were driving. We were going to either score a touchdown or kick a field goal with like no time left. And he fumbled. I forgave him. And I don't know what he was doing. He was an inch from the goal line, and some guy was coming in. Just hold on to the damn ball, Damian. Just hold on to the damn ball. Our lives would all be so much better if he held onto the goddamn ball. But we won last week. So I don't know. I guess I'm going to give him another chance. See if he can regain my trust.
So he's not at like Kyle Arrington levels.
No, he's not at Kyle Arrington levels yet.
I remember you hated that man so much.
Oh my God. It seemed like every single time a receiver was wide open, Kyle Arrington was trailing 5 yards behind him.
Didn't he have like 8 picks one year or something?
Yeah. He had an incredible amount of interceptions one year.
It's funny how that works out. So those are our teams. Another team that a lot of people, I would say, were wrong about because, they're all over Mahomes. They just love their Mahomes, is the Chiefs, who have started 2-3. And I was hearing people thinking that they'd go undefeated this year. Patrick Mahomes was like, yeah, I want to go 17-0. I mean, like, of course you do. Everybody does. But a lot of the media was really drumming up the Chiefs. I mean, there are a lot of people's Super Bowl picks. I know Nick Wright on Fox was like, oh, they're going to 17-0. And it's like, okay, probably not. But I didn't think that they would start 2-3.
They were losing week 1, too. I think they were losing by double digits to the Browns week 1.
Yeah,
that game.
Yeah, they came back and won.
So they could easily be 1-4.
They could be in the same boat as my boys. And,
but they got the same record as these guys. Same team. Patriots and Chiefs, same team.
Okay. Yeah. Mac Jones is Patrick Mahomes. But like, what do you make of this? Do you think this is just, Murphy's Law? Like, they've been so good the last 2 years. Now things are starting to go wrong for them.
When Tom Brady got hurt and we had Matt Castle, I'm sure you remember this.
I do.
Colts, I'm pretty sure the Colts started like 2-4 or something. You guys had a really bad record. And you know what you guys did? You went 12 and fucking 4. You went 12 and 4, and we went 11 and 5, and we missed the playoffs with Matt goddamn Castle. We went 11 and 5 and missed the playoffs. And that's what I was thinking about the Chiefs. This really good team that just didn't do really that good at the beginning of the season. I think they'll finish with 17 games now. I think they'll finish with 5 losses, 12 and 5 is what I think their final record will be. They're just, Patrick Mahomes is good. Unless that defense really doesn't figure it out, that could be their Achilles heel. And if that defense doesn't figure it out, I think they'll win 10 games, but I don't think they'll lose less than. I don't think they'll win less than 10 games. It's the kind of guy, Patrick. I still have the belief that Patrick Mahomes is this world-beating quarterback because he's just shown it to me too many times. I can't argue against him just yet. And it's also like the Packers. When the Packers, I don't know what their record was, but the Aaron Rodgers relax, RELAX, relax.
Yeah,
you remember that? I think
I
they
do.
were like 0-3 or something like that. And they made the playoffs. They didn't win the Super Bowl. When did you guys exit the playoffs that year when you went 12-4? I think it was 08.
It's 2008. We lost to the Chargers.
Was that the Billy Volek game?
I think it was the year before that. I don't
Okay.
remember. Those two, I try to forget about those two games. But yeah, God, imagine that, winning 12 straight games, then going one and done. Like, that sucked. But I agree with you. I just like, I can't see Patrick Mahomes not making the playoffs. I mean, their offense is still incredible. Their offensive line maybe has taken a step back from where it was in previous years, but it's still okay. I mean, and Patrick Mahomes is mobile enough to overcome that a bit. It's just like you said, the defense. The defense has been, I think they're probably the worst defense in the league right now, statistically, through 5 games. And there's only so much you can do offensively if your defense decides to take cigarette breaks at the same time, like the Colts did last night.
I mean, even Tom Brady couldn't do it with the. I mean, we talked about this previously, but the second worst defense in the league at the time when they lost to the Giants the second time,
right?
He got him all the way to the Super Bowl, but just couldn't do it because that defense just couldn't do it for him.
Yeah, I mean, the saying, defense wins championships.
Yeah,
I would say that defense. I don't think defense wins it for you unless your defense is incredible, but you're not winning one without at least solid defense. Like, you do need some semblance of a defense to win a Super Bowl.
You need a top. I would say you need at least a top 13 defense to win Super Bowl.
And if your defense is more to that 13 to 15 range, then it has to be opportunistic. It has to be one of those defenses that forces a lot of turnovers.
Kind of like, I mean, they didn't win the Super Bowl. Like the Falcons, their defense that they had, that could have been a team that would have won a Super Bowl with a good offense, and they almost did. They almost did, Falcons.
or the Saints when they beat us. That defense was very opportunistic, and it showed. But the Chiefs defense, I feel like they can get there. They do have some opportunistic players. They've got the Honey Badger. I mean, they've got some other guys on that defense. And they have experience. So I do expect them to figure it out. I don't know that they're pulling off 12 straight. But I do expect them to make the playoffs. I actually think the Chargers are going to win that division, though.
Yeah, I think so, too. The Chargers, I think they're pretty good. That defense, they have a really good defense
and
a really good offense. You know what I mean?
They do. Good for the Chargers. I mean, they've had some rough times, but
I don't remember who they were playing. It wasn't last week, but it was the week before, where they had, it was the Raiders, where they had way more Raiders fans in the stadium than Chargers fans, and they still won. And Justin Herbert, like they were interviewing, he goes, "I wouldn't want it any other way. We wouldn't want it any other way."
I think you'd want your home games.
I know,
to be home
games. Funny how he's so dedicated to not caring.
They should just move back here to San Diego. Like,
I think Honolulu is the perfect team for the Chargers, and it's an incredible opportunity for the NFL to expand the game into Asia.
I don't know if they'd ever do that, though. That would suck so much for you'd have such an unfair.
It would
even out because they'd be traveling.
You'd have to do 3 games, like 3-game trips every time, like 3 games home, 3 games there.
Yeah, something like that.
But I mean, I'm pretty sure they have these supercomputers that create schedules, or like say super algorithms, so they can do it.
The super algorithm screwed the Colts this year. So the algorithm could go screw itself. But yeah, they should have had if they give St. Louis a team like they were mentioning, because they screwed them over. They should. They should add a 34th team, because you can't have 33 teams. They would. God, that'd be weird if they added 2 more. Then one division would have 5 teams in each conference.
I don't think though. I don't know if they'll ever add another team. I think
It's
the
just so
NFL likes
balanced,
32. It is perfect. It is perfect the way it is.
perfectly balanced, as
Yeah,
all
because
things
I mean,
should be.
winning your division is it's so incredible for watching the games and cheering. You know what I mean? Like the NFC East. Eagles fans had so much hope at the end of the season. You know what I mean? They were like 5-10. Like they were terrible at the end of the season.
NFC least. God.
Got them.
All right, so Chiefs. You're saying they'll finish what? What did you say?
12-5. I'll say
12 and 5. I say they go 11-6.
Okay.
And then I don't think they're winning the Super Bowl though. I don't even think they'll get to the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, I say they. I would say. I say they lose in the. They lose in the divisional round because they're not going to be. They're not going to get that bye week. Yeah,
I agree. And let's move on to a team that had playoff aspirations, but now that looks a little in doubt, especially considering that they play in the NFC West. The Seahawks lost Russell Wilson to a finger injury in the Thursday night game against the Rams, and he's expected to miss, I believe, anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks, which even if he misses 4, that's still damning.
I don't know who they play, but they got to play at least one NFC East team, right? Or not NFC East, AFC West, or NFC West.
They'd love to play an NFC East team. Seahawks schedule. So they play the Steelers. It's probably a loss. They play the Saints. It's probably a loss. They play the Jaguars. They could probably win that.
Okay.
And then they play the Packers. So they're looking at best 1-3, I would say. And then they play the Cardinals, Washington football team, Niners.
So Geno Smith actually looked pretty good. Like he didn't look too terrible. Even the interception at the end, Tyler Lockett just fell over. I mean, he might have gotten nudged a little bit by the defensive back, but he just fell over. And I think the ball was already in the air, or Geno Smith was already in the process of throwing it.
What if he takes Russ's job?
That would be
the craziest thing.
That would be absolutely nuts. I mean, Russell Wilson was demanding for a trade. Could you imagine the world we would live in if Geno Smith wins 6 games in a row as the Seahawks quarterback if Russell Wilson's not there? What do? They have to put Russell Wilson back in, right? They had to put Russell Wilson back in. But say they don't win the Super Bowl. Do you trade Russell Wilson? Do you start Geno Smith?
Let's put our fantasy caps on for a second. If for Geno Smith to possibly take Russell Wilson's job, say they do go 6-0 and say that the Seahawks are like, you know what, we're just gonna shut Russell Wilson down for the year, blah blah blah. What that won't happen, but what stats do you think he would have to have in order for them to be like, yeah, we're gonna move forward with Geno?
Let's put it this way. I think the more realistic scenario is, let's say Russell Wilson's out 8 weeks and then they put Russell Wilson back in no matter what, like for them to trade Russell Wilson and roll with Geno because he's good enough. What stats does he have to be in for that? I would say for 8 weeks, which is half of a season in the old days of the 16 game
the good old days.
It's a little easier to guess, I guess. So I guess what would he have to do? He'd have to throw 20 touchdowns. He would have to throw 20 touchdowns, which was a 40 touchdown pace in 16 games. So he'd have to have pretty good. He'd have to throw less than 12 interceptions. He could throw a little bit of interceptions just because, I don't know, I feel like it's difficult for a quarterback to come in and play.
Yeah.
And he'd have to throw for 2,000 yards.
I think I would go north of that. Because they're moving on from Russell Wilson, who does stuff like that every year.
But he wanted to leave. You know what I mean?
I know, but I don't know, man.
So they thought about it a little bit last year. They met with the Bears. I don't think much ever went with it, but I'm pretty sure they met in person with the Bears, like their GMs or something like that.
I would just be really concerned with, okay, Geno Smith has never shown this ability before. Yeah. This has come out of nowhere.
More so, if Geno Smith can do this, we can find somebody that can be good enough type of mentality. But I don't think they do it, but
it's happened so many times before where a quarterback comes out of nowhere, has a great year, and then they're back to the same old, like Mike Vick with the Eagles. Like
Nick
came out of
Foles did it
nowhere.
twice.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just I would rather, and they're about the same age. I think Russell Wilson's only about a year younger or something, or a year older. I would just rather go with the proven guy who's proven to be elite rather than the hot piece of ass that just
You're,
comes out of nowhere
you're so
for
right.
1 year.
You're so
Like,
right.
but I guess Gino would have to be on record-breaking pace. Like he would have to look so good. And it would have to be like not fluky throws and not like, oh, he was wide open, like anybody could make that throw, or oh, like he's not throwing picks because he's just getting lucky, or like, oh, there's a ton of yards after the catch. No, he would have to look historically good in order for the Seahawks to even consider doing that.
It won't happen, but I'm personally rooting for the Seahawks to sign Cam Newton. They won't, but it would be. I love watching Cam Newton play, and I know that's a hot take for Patriots fans because he threw the ball into the dirt a lot. But he was exciting, especially at the beginning of the year, just breaking out of sacks. Like he's a fun guy to watch. It'd be fun on that Seahawks offense.
It would be. And they're definitely better suited for him than most teams because they do have a quarterback who is kind of mobile. But I agree. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to roll with the Geno. And for our last topic of the week, predictions for week 6.
All right. To start it off here, we got the Buccaneers at the Eagles on Thursday night.
I think this is fairly open and closed case, but Buccaneers and the Eagles just don't impress me at all. I don't know what to make of Jalen Hurts. Anybody who has an opinion about football on TV claims that he's like on his way to being a franchise quarterback. I don't know if I believe that. He just seems like he's a solid starter, probably anywhere from like the 17th to 24th best quarterback in the league. So I'm going to go Buccaneers 31, Eagles 17.
I think the Jalen Hurts is just buying into Lamar Jackson. You know what I mean? If one quarterback can do it mostly with his legs, why can't another quarterback? I mean, I think for Jalen Hurts to be a franchise quarterback, he is going to need a Josh Allen type offseason where he just gets a lot more accurate. Quarterbacks have done it too. Quarterbacks have done it. They've gotten a lot more accurate over an offseason, but he needs that to be that franchise guy. He's really good at running the ball though. But yeah, Buccaneers 48, Eagles 17.
Jesus. Okay.
Next up, we got in London, Dolphins at the Jaguars in London.
Oh, that is a terrible game. That's such a bad game. But the Brits get to see their sweet love, the Jaguars, the resident team.
I think it's going to be pretty high scoring.
You think it's good? The Dolphins couldn't move the ball against 11 me's.
Jaguars aren't good. Like they don't have a good defense.
I think the Jaguars have a chance to get their first W. Oh God, am I picking the Jags? I really want them to go winless, and that's kind of
your bold prediction. It was your bold prediction.
Yeah. Okay, I have to ride with it. I think the Dolphins are gonna. I think the Dolphins are gonna win 27-23 in front of the English crowd. Bit cheeky, in it.
I have the Dolphins. No, I'm taking the Jaguars. Jaguars.
Oh, you're going Jaguars.
I'm gonna go. The Jaguars are gonna score 35 points, and the Dolphins are gonna score 28. It's just gonna be so much offense.
Is that wishful thinking, perhaps?
I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna be starting Mike Gesicki because both Kyle Pitts and George Kittle are on bye week. But hey, we'll see what happens.
All right, we'll see.
Next is the Chiefs at the football team.
Wouldn't it be something if the Chiefs lost? I don't think they're going to. I think this will be like a 38-23 kind of game. Yeah. And the Chiefs get back on track. I don't know if they'll get back on track, but they'll win.
I want to pick the football team so bad. I want to pick the football team
Do
So
it.
bad.
Do it. You won't.
Who did they lose to after I picked the Chargers for them to lose twice in a row. They did lose twice in a row there, but can they lose twice in a row again? Can the Chiefs lose in a row again? No, they can't do it. They can't do it. Chiefs they're gonna win 31-20.
Okay.
Next is the Rams at the Giants.
Rams win 35 to especially do you know if the Giants players are playing? Because they're missing like every good player on their offense.
I don't know. Daniel Jones' concussion last week looked pretty bad. Did you see it?
I did not.
He like got up and he was walking around. He might have actually stumbled, but he was walking and kind of went and like, whew,
that's
like
not
shook
good.
it off and said, "I'm okay." And then he was out. He was out of the game after that.
What if he's an amazing quarterback now? Like they hit him so hard,
okay.
like he just like shifts everything into line, and he's like, "Oh my god, I see the field now." Like I
he's been playing okay the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, but if he's out, do they still have Colt McCoy as their backup?
They hope Mike Glennon.
Oh Jesus! They have the Brachiosaurus with the long neck. But if Saquon's out, Galladay's out, if they're both out, I don't see this even being competitive. I think Rams blow them out of the water 42-10.
All right, I'm going Rams 35, Giants 13.
Okay.
All right. Next we got the Texans at the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, Jesus. Well, I will say this. If we lose this game, our season is effectively over. I think that any fan that still has hope will lose it. And the rivers of Indianapolis will run red with blood of the suicidal Colts fans because it'll be hell if we lose that game. So I don't think we will. The Texans are a terrible team, but they have been surprisingly competitive with against superior teams like you, and they beat the hell out of the Jags week 1, and they almost beat have they almost beaten anybody else? No, I don't think so.
I still can't believe they blew the doors off the Jaguars week 1.
I can't believe that either. I thought the Jaguars were going to win that, honestly. That's how bad I thought the Texans were. Yeah. But I'm going to say Colts. I'm going to say Colts 30, Jaguars 17. Is it a home game for us or is it away?
Texans. It's Texans. It's a home game.
Okay.
You said Jaguars.
Yeah, I think that's right. I'm dreading.
We're talking too much about the Jaguars.
Yeah, I'm dreading playing the Jaguars in their stadium because we can never win in Jacksonville. But
oh my god! Could you imagine if you're the only team they beat when you go to Jacksonville?
Don't even talk about things like that. Don't even do it. It already happened last year.
How dare you speak that into existence?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go Colts 30, Texans 13.
All right, you guys are gonna smash on them. I mean, with 4 offensive linemen out. We only had our center. Who's arguably the least important of all of the positions. We had our best rushing game. Maybe not numbers-wise, but it seemed like our best rushing game of the year. Jonathan Taylor's going to score 2 more touchdowns, and I think he's going to get 200 rushing yards. You guys might have 300 rushing yards on the day. Like, you're going to absolutely dominate. Colts 35, Texans I'm gonna go 19. I'm going a weird one.
Wow! If you get that, I will buy you a pack of beer or something like that. That'd be insane.
I'll take it.
All right, what's the next one?
Next up, we got the Bengals at the Lions.
The Lions. It must.
The Lions are sneaky good, and they're 0-5, but they're sneaky good.
They've almost won every game, pretty much, except for the Packers game. But they're not winning this one. I think that the who they play, I can't believe I forgot already. Lions, the Bengals. I think the Bengals are they're a pretty solid team themselves. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs, but they're certainly in the conversation. Burrow really looks good. Jamar Chase looks great.
Jamar
Um,
Chase. I think he's
yeah,
gonna be the best receiver in the NFL. At least he looks like it. He's gonna
you've
be
loved
so
that man for like a couple years
good.
now.
He came in, played one season of college football, dominated everybody, and then just said, "Nope, I'm not gonna play this year. You'll still draft me number 5."
And they did.
They did.
Uh,
I
so
think Penny
yeah,
Sewell did the same thing, and he got drafted number 6
oh, God,
for the Lions. Here
I
we
wish
go,
I
both
had.
players.
I wish the Colts had Penei Sewell. I've said this before, but I would kill for that man. I think the Bengals are going to win 27. I think the Lions will make it close again, so I'll go 27-23.
I just think that Bengals offense, it's really good. It's really good. And it's like Zach Taylor's finally like doing something right. Like he's had these pieces that just haven't worked out. And finally, I mean, maybe it was just Joe Burrow was a rookie, then got his torn ACL, you know what I mean? So it just took
Yeah.
some time. But it's clicking, and it's working. And Lions, they're okay. Like I think they're going to lose this one, so they're going to be 0-6. So I guess they're not going to finish with an okay record.
What
But
if
they'll
they?
be a good player in the draft, and they'll be okay next year. But I think the Bengals are going to win this one, 27 to 20.
What if they go 0-17, and they're like the first team to go 0-16 and the first team to go
That would be so
0-17?
terrible. That would be so terrible for Lions fans. But could you imagine if they go 0-17 and like 12 of the games are last second losses?
They're all like 12 of the games are 64-yard field goals or something.
I hope the Lions and the Jaguars both go 0-17 and the Jaguars don't get the number 1 overall pick. That would be incredible.
Could you imagine? God. All right, what's next?
We got the Packers at the Bears.
I think Packers take this 27-17. The Bears have looked better in the last 2 weeks, but I can't get that taste of the 46-yard offensive performance out of my mouth. So I don't trust them yet, and I don't think they're good enough to beat the Packers.
The Bears do this to us every goddamn year. They look terrible, and then they make the playoffs. How do they keep happening? And I think are they 500 or are they like 2-2?
I think they're 500, yeah.
Yeah, how are they doing it to us again? They might be 3-2, actually.
I think they're 3-2. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they beat the Bengals too. The team I was just raving about, but they look terrible. You think of the Bears as a bad team, but they aren't. I mean, can I take them against the Packers at home? I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to take the upset here. I'm going to go Bears 24, Packers 21.
All right, we'll see what transpires.
Yeah. Next up, we got the Chargers at the Ravens.
The Ravens.
Ravenclaw.
Step into my web. I'm going to take the Chargers. I think that whenever you play a really emotional, elongated game, it does have an effect on you the next week. And the Ravens just did that. We don't need to talk about the team that they beat, but they did play a long game with a lot of emotions. And I think the Chargers are just a better team. They're not banged up like the Ravens are. And I really think that the defensive ends, like Joey Bosa, he's going to give Lamar some issues. So I think this will be a high-scoring affair. I'm going to go Chargers 35, Ravens 33.
Yeah. I'm going to go, I think, I thought that Chargers defense was good. And the Browns scored like 40 points, but the Chargers scored like 50 or whatever it ended up being.
That was a crazy game.
It was an incredible game. I think I'm gonna take the Chargers too. I don't think being on the road matters to Chargers because they never have fans.
They do it all the time.
I don't think it really matters that it's in Baltimore. I think the Chargers. I think they'll win. I'm gonna go 28-17.
Okay.
Next up is the Vikings at the Panthers.
Oh God, that's I do think the Panthers win this. I think that they're overall a more consistent team. I like their defense a lot. I don't trust Kirk Cousins, and it's not just because he won't get vaccinated. He's just one of those quarterbacks that you never know quite what to make of. So I'm going to go Panthers 24, Vikings 20.
I think Kirk Cousins is a lot like Derek Carr. He can win a Super Bowl, but I don't think he's going to be the reason. You know what I mean?
Would you rather have Carr or Cousins?
I mean, Derek Carr because he's vaccinated. Can I say that a cop out?
No, that's definitely
I
fair.
go
Because
Derek Carr because he's vaccinated. I mean, I don't want that risk.
I'd go Derek Carr. I think he's just a little better, anyways. I think he's safer with the ball and more efficient. But
I'm
anyways,
gonna
what's
go. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take the Panthers. I think it's gonna be a pretty good game. I think it's gonna go. I'll go 21-20 Panthers.
21-20?
Next up, we got the Cardinals at the Browns.
That's a good game. I'm gonna say the Cardinals lose their first game. I think the Browns pull it off. I think it's gonna be 38-35 Browns.
I'm so upset that you took the Browns because I'm gonna take the Browns too. Oh man, yeah. I just think it just seems like a game that an undefeated team
Yeah.
loses here. I take the Browns, and I don't think it's gonna be too high scoring. I think it's gonna be 24-21.
What if it's
Browns.
2-0?
Wow, that would be incredible. What if it was 1-0? They safety the team on the extra point. You know you can score 1 point that way.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we got the Raiders at the Broncos.
I think the Broncos are gonna win. I think the Raiders are gonna be so just such in such turmoil. Like you can't lose your head coach abruptly like this and just have things continue on as normal. I think it's gonna take them a couple weeks. Plus the Broncos have a good defense. So I'm gonna go Broncos 17, Raiders 13.
I think interim head coaches actually have a pretty good record on their first week coming in. Just because I think the team really rallies behind them. They're like, "Oh, it's a new guy. Like, let's just do it, guys. Let's just win it for him." I think it works.
Let's stop losing.
But I think this is a special situation. You know what I mean? It wasn't like your coach was bad. I mean, he could have gotten fired after this year, Jon Gruden, sure, but not like this, not this early. And it's on the road, and Denver has really good fans. Like, I mean, they have a really good crowd there. It's gonna be roaring. I think the Broncos win this game. I'll give them 20. I'll give the Raiders 14. It's gonna be close. Next up, we got the Dallas Cowboys versus the real America's team, New England Patriots.
Shut up. The Cowboys have been a lot better than I thought they would be. I really didn't see them starting off this well, and they're only going to continue to roll, I think, because their schedule is pretty easy until the later portion of the year. And you guys, I feel like you kind of play down or up to whoever you're playing. So I do expect this to be a close game, but I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I think Dak, I think I was wrong about Dak. He's definitely looked like a top 10 quarterback this year.
Yeah.
I've been very impressed with him. So I'm going to go Cowboys 28, Patriots 27. I think it's going to come down to the end.
Okay. I'm trying to think because we're going to get 3 field goals because it happens almost every single game. So I'm trying to factor that into my scoring here. So we're going to go Patriots 30, Cowboys 27. I think our defense does enough, and our offense has been getting better and better every week. I think it all comes together this week, and we take it down.
Good luck.
Next up, we got the Seahawks at the Steelers. Super Bowl, I want to say 42 rematch. No, Super Bowl 40. Super Bowl
the
40.
One that the Colts should have been in, but yeah, Vanderjack, thank you very much. I think that the Steelers are going to have a pretty easy job with this one. Their defense is going to get healthier every week. I know it hasn't been as good as most people expected because of the injuries, but you're missing Russell Wilson on the other side of the ball. There's no way that the Seahawks might have had a tough time with Russell Wilson. I just don't think there's a way that they win this without him. I'm going to go Steelers 24, Seahawks. I'll go 16.
I want to take the Seahawks so bad just because it would be so incredible if they beat the Steelers. I can't though. I can't, especially if the Steelers are at Heinz Field. I'm gonna go Steelers 19. Seahawks 10.
I know you probably feel differently because the Patriots have never had issues with the Steelers, but when I think of Heinz Field, I think it's like one of the scariest places to
Yeah,
play
it's
because
not a fun place to play.
no,
It's not a fun place to play at all.
it's loud. The weather's usually ass. The terrible
Steelers have
towels,
really
like
good fans. They have really good
yeah,
fans in
yeah,
Pittsburgh.
and the terrible towels. It just like as soon as the Colts step onto the field, I'm already convinced that we've lost. Like something about the atmosphere. It's just I have no faith whenever the Colts play there.
When the Patriots played the Steelers at Heinz Field in the AFC Championship game before they went and beat the Rams in the Super Bowl the first time, they the announcers it's famous. The announcers go, and the Patriots are in fact going to take the field, and they are going to play the Steelers this afternoon because we were massive underdogs. But yeah, I just didn't even think of that. I'll go. I went 19-10. So Monday night game is Bills at the Titans.
Well, I'm taking the Bills, and it's not just because I hate the Titans and I need them to lose. It's because I think the Bills are the best team in the AFC right now. And I don't think the Titans are going to be the team to prove me otherwise. But the Titans do have a habit of winning like one game a year that they have no right to win. So it could very well be this game. So that being said, realistically, I think the Bills win this 28-20.
I think the Titans just get absolutely embarrassed. I don't think the Titans have a good defense. I don't think the Titans have a necessarily good offense. Now we'll see if AJ Brown plays. That could change. But they don't have a lot right now without their two receivers. I mean, they have Derrick Henry, but when everybody knows you're running the ball, it doesn't work out well. I don't think the Bills have necessarily a great run defense, but I don't think it's going to be pretty for the Titans. I'm going 48-13. They're going to get mollywopped.
I think sexist men respect women more than you respect the Titans.
I have no respect for the Titans. No respect for them.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's pretty evident. I would love it if they got just boat raced in that game. That'd be the greatest thing ever. But that is it. Those are all our predictions. We'll just have to see what happens, and we'll report our records next week because we forgot to look at that 2 weeks ago. But that's the show for the week, folks. Thanks for tuning in again. We'll be sure to do this every week now. No more misses. Do you have anything else to add, Bill, before we wrap this up?
Nope, that's it.
No? All right. Well, we'll see you next week, guys. All right. And broadcast. 1 hour and 2 minutes.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, it was fun. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love doing this.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah. It sucks that we missed last week, but I had to move and stuff, and you were sick. You're feeling better?
So on Tuesday or on Monday, I couldn't talk. Tuesday, I still couldn't talk. Wednesday, I was straight up sick. Like I was like, I could talk a little bit better, but I was not feeling well enough to do it. I had to drive to goddamn New Jersey on Thursday to go pick Marissa up.
Jesus.
It was just not happening.